Long time no see. My name is Key, and today I want to talk about Genshin Impact, or maybe League of Legends. Two games I don't play anymore and don't really want to. But what I do want to do is just there. Now it's perfect. What? What are you looking at? These two games do have one thing and one thing in common only, and that is they have two amazing character design directions, and I'm here to ruin them both. You're welcome. What better way to show you my art skills than to make two different fandoms hate me very, very quickly? I think this is great. This is a good idea, yeah. So I've kind of decided that I'm gonna mash these two very beautiful, very different character design directions into one big old ball. I've decided I'm gonna take a couple of League of Legends champions and I'm gonna turn them into Genshin characters. Now, a little bit of a disclaimer, I am not good at art. I'm doing my best. No, I'm doing so good. I'm doing so well, but it's not gonna be a one-to-one for the Genshin art design. But hey, it's all put on your imagination glasses. And I'm also not here to make these designs better. I'm just kind of here to see what it would look like, if my favorite games of the past were meshed into one. And the characters up on today's unfortunate chopping block for them are going to be Fiora, Ahri, and Senna. Yay! I picked these three characters because I was told to. So I picked Senna because I like Senna. I picked Ahri because Ahri I thought was an interesting design choice because she has so many different designs, right? And Fiora, I picked Fiora because she does actually need a little bit of an update. She's been around in the game for League of Legends for a little bit now, just a couple of years, yeah, just a few. Uh, yeah. Well, look, full disclaimer, I am an ADC main, so like all of my faves, and I mean all of my faves, with the exception of Victor, we love you, baby, mwah, mwah, go into the bot lane. So I had to like branch out and ask some of my friends what they thought they'd like to see in a video like this, and I did, and I got these guys, so let's do it. So let's start off with Fiora, shall we? Why, you ask? Because I drew her months before I even had an idea to do this video. I wanted to redesign her because she's a little older for League, and when I went looking for inspiration, I landed on Genshin. I ended up going with Genshin for inspiration because I was talking to some friends about where League was headed artistically 10 years from now and where it was 10 years ago, and I made a joke about how League of Legends will eventually become a gacha game with anime characters like Genshin. They kind of already have been implementing loot boxes and gacha systems into other parts of their game, and there's even the mobile version with Wild Rift now. So I don't think it's that far of a leap or a bounds to make a joke about them making their characters a gacha system, kind of like how some of the skins are. And that was it. That was all it took for me to want to do this. Art, it comes in silly ways, very fickle are the muses. Fiora's original design is solid, but it's too simple for a Genshin character. So the first thing I wanted to do was to decide what to add to her design to make it a little bit more crowded. I decided to go with wing patterns that fit her home city of Demacia in League. It's something that can be seen in Genshin Impact with the vision symbols, as well as some of the characters from Mondstadt, for example. So I thought it would be a good idea to add this to her as well. One of the harder decisions for this character design was actually deciding what kind of vision to give Fiora. She is not a spellcaster in League. She doesn't really have any elemental backing to her nature. She is just a really cool swordswoman. Like, she's just really skilled. So I ended up giving her a geovision because she's a very headstrong person and I thought it fit what she was going for as a character. And I imagine she would have received her vision after her father got in prison. There's a moment where she goes to see him, and the lore states that no one knows what happens or what was said there. I imagine she would have emerged from that conversation in the prison with her geovision. It just makes sense to me, whether it be her father's or if that's where she obtained it. Now, at this point in the video, you're probably wondering, Key, you've missed a part of the body. I noticed that Fiora stops at the ankles. And yes, she does, dear viewer. That is because I cannot draw feet. It is not possible for me to do. It is so hard. I mean, you don't need feet for the Genshin splash arts. Not the ones where they're like fully rendered with the fancy magical backgrounds. No, I'm talking about the ones that have the big Genshin Impact and then all the circles behind them, which is what I was going for in the first place. You don't need them, you don't need feet, so save yourself the trouble when drawing and don't draw parts you don't need. It saves you so much time, so much effort, and you don't have to do the parts that you can't do. Yeah. Another thing about this drawing is that I was pretty new to rendering metal. I had tried it once or twice before, maybe, but I'd never done it in excessive detail. So I took the time on this particular drawing to sit down and really learn and study how to draw metal and make it look good and convincing. And I'm really happy with the results. I can't wait to show you guys at the end. You can see it here coming along now, how reflective and shiny it looks. I think I caught what I was going for. And after doing this drawing and learning all these new techniques and studying how the bodies look in Genshin Impact, I really have a newfound respect for the style because when you compare it to something like League of Legends, you'd obviously, in your mind, you'd think, hey, this is definitely a simpler art style. I could learn how to do this one because compared to this one, it looks so simple. This is not true. You are fooling yourselves, I say. Art styles are difficult. Learning new art styles is difficult. The amount of time it takes for you to learn to do something is so long. This ultimately ended up being a study of styles and just newfound respect for Genshin Impact creators. I have no idea how they can keep doing such a simple yet complex style. Like, it is deceivingly hard to get this right. Ugh. But enough about Fiora. I think it's time to move on to another character. So, here's the final piece. Let me just be the first to say, I love how this piece turned out. It wasn't really planned to do something like this, but I think it looks amazing. And when you put it up next to a couple of other little splash arts from Genshin, I think it holds up decently well. It's not perfect, but it's definitely getting there. I personally think the worst part is actually the way I rendered the skin. I don't think it looks too good, and as well as the fact that Genshin has a very it's sharp, but it's blended. Like, it has that look to it that I just haven't gotten down yet. So anyway, I'll try blending more when I make my Ahri piece. So in my mind, I thought, wow, Ahri is the perfect fit for this series. Yeah, she is. A little too perfect, one might say. Designing a Genshin version proved really difficult for me due to a combination of similar aesthetics and her having multiple character designs to pull from. It's really hard to redesign a character when a character has been redesigned, but redesigned in a way where they keep the core aspects of what makes their character so many times. I mean, look at all of these. You have her design in League of Legends, her design in League of Legends, you have her design for the Ruined King, her design for K2XO, which isn't even out yet, but I'm definitely counting it as reference. You have all of the concept art for her to look at. You have her art for her Legends of Runeterra card, and every time they redo her in the same outfit, which makes sense, it's her main outfit, but gosh, when you're trying to redesign something to look like this, and it's already been done, oh, it's so frustrating. Like, same hat, same hat. It's much easier when you're trying to design a new outfit for a character, like if you're making a Winx Club edit where you give them a new outfit to fit a new idea that you have to fit the character. But when you're trying to keep the outfit the same but redesign it to match a different style, but it's already been redesigned in, say, 4 or 5 different styles in its original text, then you kind of run into a problem where you either are copying an idea from here, or here, and it's so hard to get around. And don't even get me started on her face. I redrew her face so many times. I then eventually just broke down and started trying to just scale what I already had, tilt it, turn it, twist it, fix it, bop it, to get it to look like the right style because I didn't feel like Fiora's quite fit. I couldn't tell what was wrong, but I tried to fix it in this Ahri piece, and I think I made it worse. In every way, I think I made the face worse. Ahri was actually the easiest League champion to give a vision to because in League of Legends, she already has fire powers or something akin to that could be interpreted as fire powers depending on what skin you're using while you're playing her. And trust me, she has a lot. So I ended up giving Ahri a pyro vision. In League of Legends, both the story and the game, she really has charm powers, is what she's doing. She is a fox that drains the life essence away from people. And in time, she even accidentally kills her lover using this power, and she's absolutely distraught over it. I think that since she has her powers for such a long time, she would have had her vision long before her story even takes place in League, because the story she has takes place around the powers that she's learning to control. And having that be like an uncontrollable flame or uncontrollable desire, that's where the fire aspect comes from, I think. Anyway, back to the art. So one of the main problems I had with the Fiora I did several months before this was that I didn't quite blend the clothing out enough to look good in the Genshin style. So this time when I did this one, instead of doing a heavy reference because I wanted to try and master the style on my own after using what I've learned like a good artist, I didn't stare at Genshin Splash while I was doing this one. And oh, it's so overblended. The clothing is so overblended, but that's fine. It looks more like a painted piece than a piece that you would put on a Genshin Splash. It's okay. Things happen. It's fine. I still think the art looks really good, and so here is the final piece. Overall, I do like the way it looks. I think it looks very good. I just don't think when you sit it next to these other splash arts, it looks like a Genshin Splash. And that's the biggest regret I have on that one. And I did Senna back to back with Ahri, so I didn't really have time to sit down and take a step back and study what I didn't like about the Ahri one. I just took what I thought immediately from looking at it and I said, okay, super overblended clothing and the face is just super wrong. I took those two things when moving on. And so the immediate thing I tried to fix was the face because the eyes were too small, they were a little too close together. Immediately, I decided to fix that with the centerpiece. So I love this champion. Her inclusion on this list was a must for me. When I tell you the idea of a lovers trying to seek each other out, it's peak writing. Peak writing. Give me two lovers. Give me two lovers that cannot be together and are separated because of something, anything. In this case, a very evil lantern. Oh, and then her husband is also in League. His name is Lucian. We love them. We love them. They're so good. So Senna's story is that she gets captured by an evil ghost man named Thresh. To put it in simplest terms, League of Legends players, please do not come at me. Please, I'm begging you. And if you do, do it in the comments down below. And so she is in the lantern and her husband has to go seek her out and find her. And there's this one cinematic where he breaks her out of the lantern and pulls her back from the spirits being pulled back into lanterns, and he's holding on to her. Yes, give me that angst, give me that love, that true passion for the person you love. Yes, it's so good. The thing is, when he finally gets her out of the lantern, she comes out changed. She now has power and control over these spirits, which in League of Legends are known as the Mists, which is why I decided to give her a Hydro Vision. Yes, that's right, Hydro powers for Ghosty Goos. In League of Legends, she has the power to bring the mists and hide her allies inside of it, and I just think that'd be a really cool power to see put in Genshin Impact in the way that, like, you could have, like, a cool water shader go over the characters when you switch over them to give them like an evasion boost of some kind. I think yes, it looked cool. Think about it. Think of it's the aesthetics. The aesthetics. That's the important part. I had a lot of fun rendering the Hydro Vision, and I ended up putting a couple of little ghosty goos in just to prove my point across. What if she was like, swirling around with the ghosts and they were protecting her? It's a good idea. I think it works. I also ended up making her hair a bit bigger and a bit fluffier, and I made her coat be a little shorter, and she has a little extra just belt thing hanging off just to add those little extra bits to fit the Genshin character. And I think it worked out really well. I also added more of the like blue gemstones across her body because she's covered in green, and I made them blue so they fit the Hydro theme. I also made sure to add her glowing green eyes because that's like a pop that the character has in League of Legends. Anyway, without further ado, I present to you the finished Senna. Now, I do think she is definitely an improvement on the Ahri, especially the way the vision is rendered. It just looks so good. Her proportions are more Genshin-like, and I love, love, love the hair. Here she is compared to the other Genshin characters. I still think she stands out too much to really look good with them, but here she is next to the other characters that I drew. So what do you think, my dear viewers? Do you think that you would pull for any of these lovely ladies? Did I get their elements right? And how did you like the art? Let me know down in the comments below. And I will see you guys at the next phase of the moon. Good night and goodbye.